Welcome to another edition of Turf Moor as we go behind the scenes with the Clarets in the middle of an international break. On today's show, the England goalkeeping union at Turf Moor is strengthened by the visit of a club legend. There's an update on the new disabled facilities here at Turf Moor, and as Sean Dyche closes in on his 6th anniversary as manager, Clarets player commentator Phil Bird picks out his 6 of the best from the Gaffer's reign. Few, if any, clubs can boast a trio of England international goalkeepers in their ranks, and 3 became 4 for a short while this week as club legend Colin McDonald visited the Clarets training ground to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award from the supporters.
So to Gothenburg and the new Ullevi Stadium, a modernistic masterpiece of concrete and steel. But England's goalkeeper, Colin McDonald, cannot be intimidated.
It's an absolute privilege to see you down at the training ground. The supporters made an award to you at the back end of last season, a Lifetime Achievement Award. You weren't well enough to get it then. You look fighting fit now. How are you?
I'm better than I was. Yes, much better, thank you.
You've come back down to the training ground today for the first time. I don't know when you were last here, but what do you make of the place?
I can't take it all in, I'm sorry. It's just so fantastic. Oh, it's breathtaking.
So when you come down here and you briefly saw the lads were out training and those pitches are immaculate, does it make you wish you could wind the clock back?
It's like a dream,
yeah.
Honestly. You know, to come here and, I mean, you wouldn't want to go home.
No.
It's fantastic.
And you've met the current batch of goalkeepers, all lovely lads. Interesting to see you stand alongside them, the big strapping chaps these days.
Marvellous. I don't know what you're feeding them on, but...
Colin, you know Tom obviously?
Yeah,
Anders?
Anders, nice to meet you.
Pleased to meet you.
Adam?
Hi,
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Joe?
Afternoon, John, nice to meet you.
And Nick.
Afternoon, how are you?
Goalkeepers union is complaining.
Yeah, got a lot, haven't we?
What do they feed you on?
But you were a trailblazer as an England goalkeeper. Does it make you proud to see that Burnley now have so many international goalkeepers?
Yes, indeed, indeed. The more the merrier.
What are your recollections as a player for the club, Colin? You must have so many, but what do you think back of when you think back to your playing days?
Oh, lots and lots of them. One that comes to mind was we had to play a midweek match in Aston at Villa Park at winter time, and about 20 minutes to go, and it just started to snow. Great big flakes. And it stuck on the ground, and the referee said, right, off. So we went off. We stripped off in the bath. 10 minutes later, he came, come on, we'll finish the match now. So we had to get up again and go and finish the last 20 minutes off. Ridiculous. But there we are.
Did you win? Can you remember?
Not very often we won at Aston Villa, but we did win that day because it was always a pleasure for me because I let 5 in on my debut.
So your debut was at Villa Park,
yes, of course.
It?
Yes,
Colin, this is Billy Mercer, goalkeeping coach.
You wouldn't have
Congratulations.
another big lad. Yeah. I didn't know what it was here.
I know you've just been a guest here briefly, but do you feel that today? I mean, you know, we always think our players are very polite and friendly and welcoming. Did you feel that today?
Oh, yes. More than enough. I'm a bit emotional, really.
But I'm delighted. I'm going to ask Tom Heaton, who became the first Burnley player to play in goal for England since Colin, to make the presentation.
Yeah, Tom. Cheers. Congratulations, Colin.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
You were a proud England international. What are your recollections of that and the World Cup in 1958?
Well, I was a bit nonplussed, really, to be in that position for a start. But I enjoyed it, and I played with some superb players. The match that stands out, of course, is the one against Brazil, which...
You kept a clean sheet?
Yeah. I think I was just living on my nerves that game, but we managed it anyway. I think we were the only team that stopped them from scoring. But no, that was wonderful.
Brazil eventually threatened a goal, but England's goalkeeper, Colin McDonald, cannot be intimidated. Even when he is beaten, there is Ronnie Clayton to clear the ball into touch.
And then back at Burnley, did you have a friendly rivalry with Adam Blacklaw? Because two top-class goalkeepers, a bit like today.
Adam was a lovely lad, beautiful, a lovely lad, and a superb goalkeeper. I can't remember anybody else round about the era or before, even before I played, that could come up to his standard.
Yeah. And obviously the disappointment of injury that was cruel to you, that ended your career a bit early, well, a lot early, and made you miss out on the championship. Do you look back and think that was unfair, unlucky, or do you just think you were blessed to have what you did have?
It's fate. And what happened to me after that, I mean, I was in football for a long time on the administration side as youth development and chief scout at Bury, and bringing in players like Colin Bell and Terry McDermott and Alec Lindsay, who all went on to play for England. That gave me just a thrill as well. So, I mean, I've been very fortunate.
I was really surprised. You played 200 games in 5 years, was that right?
Something like that.
Yeah, we were amazed how many in like such a short space of time.
I'm no good on statistics.
Oh, yeah. eight caps in the World Cup, that's not bad though, is it? But no, huge congratulations. It was really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Brilliant. Thanks for coming in. Nice to meet you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Top draw, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah, we'll try.
Yeah.
Have to come and get involved one day.
Yes, will do.
Tom, a lovely little bit of history down at the training ground today. Colin McDonald came down to receive an award and meet the goalkeepers. He'll even be before your dad's time, I think, but you'll know all about him and the history of what he brought to this club.
Yeah, I heard a bit about him, to be honest, without obviously seeing him play, of course. But yeah, a real nice afternoon actually with all the goalkeepers there, having a chat to Colin and his wife Anne, and a brilliant way to mark a Lifetime Achievement Award at Burnley Football Club. So yeah, I mean, I'm quite honoured really to present the award to him. What he's done in his career, obviously knew bits of it, but in a bit more detail from Tony, who read it out. So yeah, it was great to listen to and a pleasure to give him that award.
Lovely link. He was a trailblazer, if you like. England international in 1958, played in the World Cup. Amazing how things have gone full circle with our galaxy of international players now. A lean time in between, but nice to have that circle closed. Really.
That's right. Strange how it works. It's certainly come back round to the football club, but listening to the stories about, I think with his performances in the World Cup, he was voted goalkeeper of the tournament, outstanding in a 0-0 against Brazil. It's fantastic to hear it. Obviously heard a bit about him previously, but to finally meet him under circumstances like this is great.
I think he was a bit he was very touched, found it quite emotional. Again, just seeing the facilities. He came here when they were training, 2 pitches, there was a shed and all sorts. I suppose it is quite breathtaking when you come down here, especially on a day like today.
It is. I mean, it's not lost on any of us, to be honest, as players. We're driving every day. It's a fantastic place to come. Brilliant facility, brilliant scenery. But I think what also makes it special is the fact that it is steeped in that history. To know that the players back then came in on the same site. Obviously, I think we've extended the facilities now, but it's great to still have that feeling here. I remember at United growing up, the Cliff had that feel to it. All the players that had sat in that dressing room and around it. That we got told the stories growing up, and I think there's a similar sort of feel here. Really, with Gawthorpe being the base for the team for such a long period of time. As I say, steeped in history, and it's nice to have that behind you.
And but for an injury, Colin might have been one of the all-time greats. He's the great at Turf Moor, and you'll feel for that because thankfully yours is not career-ending, but it's the goalkeeper's lot, a footballer's lot, isn't it? This is what can happen.
It is. It's injuries part and parcel. I think nowadays, with obviously technological advances in medicines and what have you, I think everything's moved forward a little bit. There are very few things which stop players playing these days, but I think my understanding is back then, you get unlucky with something, then that's your time done. As I say, this day and age, it certainly seems to be less of a factor. Obviously, injury's still part of a game, but yeah, tough for him listening to that story. But it was a fantastic career up to that point.
And just finally, what has today meant to you, Colin, to come and meet the players and see the place and what Burnley Football Club's doing today in the Premier League?
I mean, I just can't. I can't grasp how this place has developed. It's fantastic. Oh.
And when you chat to your pals at the bowling club and perhaps watch Match of the Day, to see Burnley back among the elite, how does that make you feel?
Well, they've got to be. Got to be up there, no doubt about it. They're a small town club. I'd say that respectfully, not disrespectfully. But what they've done over the years is absolutely incredible. And long may it continue.
It's been an absolute joy to meet you today, Colin. I'm glad you've enjoyed your day, and enjoy the rest of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Delays have beset the accessible stadium developments here at Turf Moor, but as supporters will have seen last weekend, things are now moving on apace, as Doug Metcalf told Darren Bentley.
So we're back here at Turf Moor with Stadium and Operations Manager Doug Metcalf. You can hear the noise behind us coming from the workmen. That's all to do with what some fans will have seen last weekend, the new disabled facilities. Behind schedule, as we already know. We thought it was time to give you an update on where we're at with these facilities with Doug. Doug, it's a giant thing. It's behind schedule, we all know that. But tell us whereabouts we are in this scheme now.
Yeah, you're right. It is behind schedule and it's well documented. But what you see now is thankfully something coming out of the ground, and you can see a steel frame. It is a bigger lump, if you will. It's a big structure, but you'll see it start developing very, very quickly. So when you come to the next game, which is the Chelsea game in a couple of weeks' time, that will be completed. The structure will be up. You'll be able to see the formation of it. You'll see the floor slabs going in, and hopefully you'll see what is our first of the big screens, the replacement big screens, which will be located right on top of that structure.
So the first of the big screens, that means there's a couple of big screens, I guess.
That's right, yeah. We're really keen to sort of enhance the supporter experience. The screen that we had historically for 10 years did us very, very well. It was starting to age as far as technology goes. Its view wasn't the best, not everybody could see it. So introducing a second screen will hopefully allow the majority, I can't say everybody, but the majority of the stadium to see two screens.
Okay, let's go and have a little closer look at what's happening up there. Well, before we look that way, it's right to look this way, I think, because you get some sense here, Doug, of the depth of the foundations and the problems you've had underground, which have caused a lot of this delay.
Yeah, exactly. So, well documented again. A lot of problems underground that were unforeseen. It's taken us a good few months really to get out of the ground. Those problems, thankfully, are now behind us, certainly in this corner. There's a little bit of work to do in the southeast corner, but as you see, steelwork's up now. We'll be putting the floor in and those various floors of the structure in over the next 2 or 3 weeks. And so, thankfully, what's behind us is staying behind us.
Give us a vision. We've seen the images, the artist's impression of it. We're talking about a 2-tier floor here, a 3-tier? What will it be?
No, it's actually 4 floors, including the ground floor. It'll be 4 floors in this corner and 3 in the southeast corner. So very similar all the way through. So you've got a ground floor which will have entrances, lift lobbies, etc., concourses, and obviously the ramps that need to get into the various parts of the stadium. We need access still into the stadium, because once you start enclosing the ground with 2 corners, you start limiting your access. We've always been blessed really with 4 corners that you can easily gain access with machinery, equipment, etc. So we just need to plan that carefully. So there'll be an access route for vehicles to get onto the pitch when we do the end of season renovations, any maintenance around the stadium that needs access equipment. But then you need the various levels and ramps, etc., for our disabled supporters to get into the lift lobbies and up to the first floor, second and third floor.
And how many people are we talking about that's okay to for at the end when it's complete?
This particular corner will be on average around 70 to 80 wheelchair users, plus their personal assistants and family and friends. The idea of this is that the traditional method of seating our disabled supporters is sort of 1 personal assistant and 1 wheelchair user. We know that doesn't work. People want to come with their families and friends, so this particular layout will allow that to happen. It will be flexible with a seating arrangement. You can bring 1, 2, 3 or 4 people.
2 more things. Is it self-contained, Doug, or will it have access into both stands from the disabled?
Technically, it is linked, particularly in this corner. It's linked to the Jimmy McElroy stand and the James Hargreaves stand. There'll be only 1 link though at first floor level, so that will link in at this side into the James Hargreaves executive suite, and similarly into the Jimmy McElroy stand.
Okay. And finally, aesthetically, from the external looking in, and indeed from this side, how's it going to blend in with the actual look of those stands?
Yeah, we thought long and hard about this one. We know it's a traditional stadium. It's not a brand new bowl. like some of the stadiums we see now that are popping up. This is a traditional stadium, so we need to try and keep the character. It won't just wrap in and look exactly like the James Hargreaves and Jimmy McIlroy stand. It will be, in essence, a structure on its own, but it'll be different. It'll be clad differently to what the two stands are, and it'll stand out. It could even be iconic, who knows, but it will be a different structure to what we used to.
And you mentioned me off camera about actually nibbling in and eating into these stands a little bit to get the visuals for the big screen for more people.
That's right, yeah. So from a viewing point of view for our disabled supporters and for the big screen viewing, the two gable ends of the James Hargreaves and Jimmy McIlroy stand will be affected. So we're in fact reducing the gable ends.
So they'll go backwards into the stands?
They go backwards into the stands, yeah, and that allows this structure to wrap into those two stands.
Perfect. So this completion date we're talking when?
Well, we've had a few false starts, if you will, previously, but we're looking at a Christmas handover for this one. This will be a nice Christmas present, I guess, for some of our supporters. So we're working really, really hard to ensure we get a Christmas one handover. The southeast corner is probably looking more like February.
Let's have a quick look at the update on that one before we finish. Sure. So here in the southeast corner, you can already see the difference. This still does look like a building site, Doug.
Yeah.
Problems again in this corner, I think, hasn't there?
Yeah, significant in this one. Very similar to the northeast corner, but maybe slightly worse here, if you will. We've got a lot of existing services that we've had to deal with. But again, we're getting to the end of that. We're getting hopefully to the point where the concrete slab, ground floor slab, will start going in over the next couple of weeks. And again, you'll see the structure rising out the ground. So maybe by the time you come for the Chelsea game, you'll start seeing something to be touch and go there. You'll see behind us we've got the makings of the undersoil heating plant, the new plant that's come in. So the old system, which was certainly end of life, has now gone off site, and we've delivered yesterday the new plant, which is state of the art, allows us to control it with a great deal more detail, much more efficient.
So this comes out the ground when? Before Christmas or after Christmas?
Definitely before Christmas. We're probably about 2 months behind the northeast corner, so we're looking at around the February 2019 completion date.
And two more things, that will again be self-contained, it won't link into the two stands, will
No,
it?
this one particularly won't anywhere link in. It will look as though it will, because it will butt up against each stand, but we don't have the ability to link this one. Who knows, at a future date there's a possibility of extending it if we need that, and that's when it will link in. This one has got slightly different facilities in it. Obviously we've got the disabled supporters, but we've got the ticket office queuing area that goes in, we've got the control room, we've got the claret store, storage area. So quite a few different disciplines going on in this one.
So there we have it, the changing face of Turf Moor. By February of next year we should have these two corners fully enclosed and the stadium will look completely different than it does at this moment.
Major progress then at Turf Moor. And now look back to see who you voted for from the shortlist for the September Player of the Month Award, sponsored by Labor 360.
Goodmanson chasing down this right-hand side. Done well, Goodmanson. Can he hook it inside? He's looking for Vokes. Headed down and in! Joran Goodmanson with the header. At the far post. Burnley have the lead. Pogba against Hart, and it's safe. I think Hart's got across. Brooks is looking to take on Hart. Save from Joe Hart. Did really well. Here's Murphy. Tess Hart, great save. That's a fine save. Looking for Vokes. From beyond them. Yeah! Aaron Lennon! It's 2-0! Here's Lennon again, looking to take on Francis. Goes on the outside. Can he whip in the ball now? Gone towards the back post. Chance here. Goodmanson against the post. Has he got support with Wood? Lennon hooks it back for Pards. Oh, it's 4! Lennon was magnificent on the counter. Bucks to knock it down. Westwood with a chance, might still score. Drag wide. Yeah! Who's he got to support him? Lennon's screaming for it. It's gone down the right channel for Lennon to chase. He'll get there. Peeling away here is Goodmanson. We can get on the end of this. Hooks it back inside for Bucks. Yes!
Congratulations to Joe Hart. The goalkeeper enjoyed a tremendous month and helped the Clarets to wins over Bournemouth and Cardiff, receiving his award ahead of last weekend's game. Sean Dyche celebrates 6 years as manager of Burnley at the end of this month. Clarets player commentator Phil Bird looks back at his personal highlights of the manager's remarkable reign.
We've had some wonderful times recently. I've been asked to look back at the last 6 years under Sean Dyche. Some great games, some great memories under the gaffer and his staff. And I'm going to start with Selhurst Park back in April 2017.
Crystal Palace against Burnley.
Burnley were close to survival in the Premier League, but we hadn't won away all season. This was the 18th attempt, Saturday night game live on TV, and Burnley won 2-0 against Crystal Palace. Goals from Ashley Barnes and from Andre Gray. When the Andre Gray goal went in, you knew Burnley were going to be safe.
You could seal the game perhaps. Into the box, Andre Gray. Finishing Andre Gray. Yes!
They were going to retain top flight status for the first time since 1975. Some fantastic scenes at the end when the manager and the players went to the away end and everybody knew Burnley had done enough to survive in the Premier League.
The away day blues are over.
Memory number 5, Manchester City were the reigning Premier League champions, came here to Turf Moor. Burnley had no chance apparently in the game, but we beat them 1-0. George Boyd with a fantastic goal.
It's headed away by Company. Boyd! What a goal from George Boyd!
Past current Burnley keeper Joe Hart. Fantastic scenes at Turf Moor, great atmosphere. We'd beaten the reigning Premier League champions again. Best memory number 4, we're going back to when we won the Championship 2016. We'd beaten Queen's Park Rangers here to secure promotion. We went down to Charlton on the Saturday and beat them 3-0 to lift the title. You'll remember Brighton and Middlesbrough were playing to see who joined us in the Premier League. But if we won, we'd won the title, and that's what we did. Goals that day from Sam Vokes, from Andre Gray and George Boyd.
Oh, Burnley on the way to the title, surely.
And Burnley, incredibly, with 23 league games unbeaten. You'll remember the Football League didn't allow the trophy to go to the Valley because there were potential issues with the ownership at the Valley. So we only had a plastic cup to held up at the end, which was just fantastic scenes. We'd lifted the Championship title for the first time since 1973.
They've won it in style. Burnley are the champions.
For the next memory, we're going back to March 2014, and it's a day that Burnley fans won't forget. We hadn't beaten Blackburn Rovers in a derby game since 1979. We'd gone behind to a Jordan Rhodes goal, but 2 goals from Jason Shackle and 1 from Danny Ings secured our first derby win for 35 years.
Will it fall for 8? It will! 2-1 to Burnley! The game has turned on its head!
The scenes, the celebrations were just magnificent. And importantly as well, we were 8 points clear then in second place with 12 games to go. You sort of realised we were very, very close to a miracle promotion. Because at the start of the season, nobody gave Burnley any chance. Yet there we were, beating Blackburn and close to promotion to the Premier League.
A whistle is gone! Treasure the moment! The wait is over! 35 years in the making! Burnley have beaten Blackburn!
Number 2, never going to forget, going to Stamford Bridge, August 2017, and Burnley beat the champions 3-2. 2 goals from Sam Vokes and a classic goal from Stephen Ward made it 3-0 before half-time. Chelsea had Gary Cahill for McLaret's loanee and Cesc Fabregas sent off, but at the end Burnley were hanging on against 9 men. Comms Cam with Alistair Campbell went viral, and as we went 1 up, 2 up, 3 up, the scenes were just absolutely fantastic. Fantastic day, really, really good day. Burnley had beaten the reigning champions. All those problems the season before away from home. First game of the season, we went and won at the champions by 3-2.
Burnley have pulled off a miracle win.
Trying to pick the best or the best 6 has been difficult. There's plenty of other memories. The Europe trips this year have been fantastic. Scotty Arfield's goal at Ewood was magnificent. The win here against Liverpool by 2-0 when we had, I think, 19% possession. Some fantastic memories, but the favourite has to be April 2014 when we beat Wigan here by 2-0 to secure what I refer to as a miracle promotion.
Listen to the reception. Turf Moor special.
The start of the year we were one of the favourites for relegation. The gaffer did magnificently that season to get us up. The first goal from Ashley Barnes, everybody will remember. It's one of the great all-time Turf Moor goals. Fantastic team move. It was his first Turf Moor goal. Michael Kitely got the second from a free kick. Another great goal. 2 up at half-time. And the scenes after that, magnificent. And Burnley were promoted back to the top flight automatically for the first time since 1973. Fantastic memories.
This is our time. Burnley are promoted back to the Premier League.
Great memories, and Sean this week surpassed Stan Turnend as the 5th longest serving manager in the club's history. That's it for Turf Moor this time. Next up for the Clarets, it's Manchester City and Chelsea. Didn't turn out too badly last time. See you soon.